Hey, what's going on, everybody? Echo Side Fiend here once again, and of course, this video is about 2 weeks late, but it will be a overview of my trip down to Indianapolis, Indiana for Insane Clown Posse's Fury Fest tour stop at the Citadel Music Hall. This was about 2 weeks ago. The main reason I decided to do this trip was looking at the tour dates. They did not have any Michigan stops at all, which has happened before. It's unusual, but it has happened before on other tours. And it's at least for this leg. I mean, maybe they'll do a second leg and they'll stop here, and if they do, I'm definitely going to that too. But looking at it, I was like, well, I really want to see this tour, so I looked, and Indianapolis was on a Saturday. I have weekends off, so ran it past Crazy. Excuse me, wondering if he would want to make the trip down there, and he was down. And we invited Real Guido as well, but he couldn't get the time off. So I ran it past DC Fago guy, seeing if he was going to be going, and he was like, yeah, we're almost definitely going, and he's like, if you guys come down, we'll definitely go. And also, over the course of time, I found out Shanzi was going, as well as Coma Black, who I had not met before until this show. And so yeah, pretty much once DC said he and Megs were going, I was like, well, I'll definitely go, even if other people don't make it. So I bought my ticket, and within a couple days later, Crazy's like, I'm definitely going. He's like, I got my ticket. So I'm like, all right, cool. So everything worked out. So basically, we went down June 7th. The concert was June 8th, and then we came back June 9th. So me and Crazy rode together, took my car, and we headed out on Friday, June 7th, after I got out of work, and he was working throughout the day too. So we got home. I got home, I should say. I had all my stuff ready to go. Just had to pack a few last minute things, and we hit the road. So Crazy was actually staying with some other friends that he knows, and so I had a hotel room just about 10 minutes from the venue. I did a little searching around for hotels, and I found one that was like literally right around the corner from the Citadel. And then I found the one that I stayed at. It was like a $30 a night price difference. So I was like, that's a fucking no-brainer. And I don't need like a fucking top-of-the-line hotel. As long as it's got a bed and a fucking shower, that's all I care. So I booked up that one. It wasn't far from where Crazy was staying either, so I was able to drop him off, just get over there pretty quick. And I'm glad I booked it. At first, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't need to book it because, I'm like, what, is there going to be some fucking huge rush for hotels, But I did anyway. I'm like, I don't want to drive 4 hours and not have a hotel booked. So I got there, got checked in, and as I'm, checking in, the guy's like, "Good thing you booked." He's like, "I've had to turn like 10 people away tonight." And I'm like, "Really? For what?" And I'll actually get to why the hotel was booked up. So yeah, I just basically got all settled into my room, grabbed a shower, turned the TV on, just kind of channel surfed for a while, had a couple of beers, and I crashed out because I'd been up since 4 in the morning, and did I get up earlier and start my shift earlier? I don't even remember now, but all my work days blend together. But regardless, I had been working all day, and so I decided to call it a night. So the next day, Crazy was kind of doing things with the people he was at, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm just gonna go find a mall, because DC Fago guy and Megs were not heading in until about 1, so this is probably about 10 in the morning, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go find a mall. So just GPSed it, started heading out, and it took me right into downtown Indianapolis, which I wasn't really planning on going down there, just because I was like, I don't know the city, I'm like, I'm not gonna have that much time to do anything, but this is where the mall was. It was literally right downtown. And so as I'm getting down there, I'm like looking at my GPS. I'm like, shit, I hope I don't have to drive all over downtown. But it was just right in the, like right in the border of downtown. So it wasn't bad. There's plenty of parking. I didn't have any trouble finding a parking spot. And so I went in, headed into the mall. This is like a 5-story mall that's like obviously built up, but it was out a long ways too. It was huge. I would say it's bigger than the mall that's across the street from me. That's really good size. So, I just ended up walking around in there for a while. Went to the food court, and but the reason I think that the hotel was booked up was because of this. So I'm like walking around, and all of a sudden there was the very top floor was a video game arcade. Like the whole floor was, I shouldn't say the whole floor, but a huge section of it was this video game arcade. So I'm walking around up there just checking out the games, and all of a sudden I hear, like, for real, I hear like this clop, 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 clop behind me. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It sounds like wood on the floor, you know, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I turn around, and there's this guy just walking past me in a fucking samurai outfit, wearing wooden fucking sandals, or whatever you want to call them, wooden shoe things, like where it's just like flat with two pieces of wood. He's got a fucking plastic sword, he's got a fucking headband on, the kimono, all this. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? I'm just like, no clue what the hell what was going on. So I'm just like, okay, maybe he's just doing his thing, whatever. I don't know. And if you want to dress up like a samurai and walk around, hey, fucking more power to you. But I was just like, that's really weird. So I start heading back down. There's some other stores I wanted to check out, and all of a sudden I start noticing there's people in like fucking costumes like everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? There's furries. There was people dressed in furry costumes. There was, you know, like all kinds of cartoon characters, everything. All just, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, so that samurai guy goes walking by a security guard. It was like this older lady, and she kind of like looks, and I'm like, I walk up to her, I'm like, what's going on here? And she's like, at some type of like anime convention or something. I'm like, oh, okay, you know. And she's like, yeah, it's down on the lower floor. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then as I'm walking around, all of a sudden, then I started just noticing these people everywhere. I'm just like, what the fuck, you know? So I'm guessing the hotel was probably booked up because of this anime convention. However, I didn't see people walking around in costumes there, but excuse me. But the hotel was not very far from that mall. It was like 12 minutes, you know, it took to get there, I think. So, so yeah, just ended up walking around there. Had some lunch and kind of just chilling. And then I had actually, when I was getting ready for the trip, I had an envelope that I put a couple $100 in cash to bring with me, just in case the venue or whatever just didn't take card, and I forgot to bring it with me. So, excuse me. After I got done at the mall, I ended up finding a Meijer, which is the department store we have here. They're based here in Grand Rapids, and went and bought a couple things and got cash back, so I didn't have to use an ATM and like spend like, you know, $8 to get fucking cash out. So went and did that, and then ended up being about a 20-minute drive back to the hotel, and then it wasn't very long after that DC and Megs showed up. So ended up chilling with them. I had brought my games with me. I had brought Quest for Shangri-La. They had brought I want to say Juggalos Against Sanity. I brought my Into the Echo Side, and everybody we were trying to get together, everybody was just kind of coming in at different times, so we just didn't end up playing those, which was a bummer. I was looking forward to that, but Shanzi and Coma were running behind. Crazy wasn't even there yet, and so we just ended up hanging out and chit-chatting because we hadn't seen each other since DCG-Con, the first one, so just kind of catching up and hanging out, just talking about life, talking about our jobs, and not too long after that, Crazy and Coma showed up, so I had never met Coma before. He turned out to be a fucking cool-ass dude. I met Shanzi at DCG-Con, this past one, the 2018, so this is the first time I'd seen him since then, and not long after that, then Crazy ended up hitting me up for the address to the hotel, and him and one of the people he was staying with came over, and it was kind of funny. And Crazy did share this on his Crazy House podcast, which I will link that episode if you want to check it out. But he brought a copy of Morton's List for Coma Black because Coma had won they did a Juggalo a Day contest for making a avatar and a header, like banner thing, for their YouTube channel, and he won. And so he won both of them, and so he picked out like Juggalos Against Sanity, which it sounds like Mr. McInhose had picked that up and sent it to him, and then Crazy picked up Morton's List because he was going to the first DCG-Con, and so he just never got around to sending it to him. And right when Shanzi and Coma got there, Coma goes, "Hey, do you know if he brought that Morton's List?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually he did." And he's like, "No way, awesome." So Crazy gets to the hotel and he walks in. We're all like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, and all of a sudden he turns and he sees Coma Black and he's like, "Oh, I forgot your fucking game at the fucking place I'm staying at." You know, so, and I think Coma might have actually been like, "Yeah, whatever. He doesn't even fucking have it," you know. But he made a call, and one of the other people at the place he was staying was coming to the show, and she was able to grab it. So he did, by the end of the night, present his copy 2 years late to Coma Black, his copy of Morton's List. So turned out to be pretty cool. But so anyway, yeah, we just hung out for a while, and then Shanzi, Coma, Crazy, and his friend headed out together, and then I rode with DC and Megs. So we went to the show. I myself did the VIP, and I'll show what I'm doing. And I'll put my picture with ICP. I'll put that as the cover photo for this video. So yeah, went to the show. Ouija Mac was playing right when we got there, so I watched the rest of him. And then he came over to his booth, ended up picking up his new album and getting it autographed. Got a picture with him, and he actually recognized me, so that was pretty cool. I'm not saying that he was like, "Hey, what's up, Echo Side Fiend?" It wasn't like that, but he goes, walk up to him and he's like, "Where do I recognize you from?" And I the first thought in my head was like, I met him at the Lansing. What tour was that? What he was on? I guess it was just his own show. Like it was his show. It was him, Big Hoodoo, and DJ Clay. They played at the Loft in Lansing, and I met him there. And then not terribly long after that, he opened for the Shaggy Tito on the mini tour, the solo tour. And there, it was kind of weird too. I got a picture with him. Me and my friend Raven were getting a picture. She wanted to get a picture with him, so I took it, and then I just went up and shook his hand. And he was like, "Hey, nice seeing you again." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Maybe he recognizes me or remembers me." And then so at this show in Indiana, he was like, "Where do I recognize you from?" And so I said that the two shows, and he's like, "Yeah, that must be it." And then I thought later, I'm like, maybe I don't know if he watches Carnival Spirits or anything like that. I'm like, maybe he recognized me from that. Regardless, he did remember me or recognize me, and that was really cool. Again, he didn't call me by name. I'm not saying he was like, "Hey, let's you and I go hang out later" or something. Nothing like that, but just that he did recognize me and remember me from somewhere. I'm like, that's really cool. So ended up chit-chatting with him for a minute. And then I basically went and got in line for the VIP. There wasn't a lot of people doing. I take that back. There's probably about 100 people doing VIP. But it did take a little while because they were letting you go in groups, and they let you hang out and chill for a few minutes, and which is cool. That's the way it should be. So I don't mind waiting a little while. Sorry about that. My voice is fucked up today. But so yeah, it didn't bother me having to wait a little bit, but I did miss Ritz because of it, and I missed like part of Mushroom Head, which I don't know. Mushroom Head doesn't do a lot for me now that Jeffrey Nothing's on it. I'm not really wild about the new vocalist, but so anyway, I got in there. I got a picture with ICP. I got to hang out and chit chat with him for a few minutes, and I had him sign a couple things, and that's the other really cool thing too, was that the guys running the line, they were super cool, but they were like, you can only get one thing autographed, like, because we do have to keep the line moving, and that's understandable, So I brought a few things, and so I picked out two things that I'm like, once I get in there, I'll decide what I want to get autographed. Like, so I got in there, they were standing at a table, let a few of us in, and I got my two things that I'll be showing, and I'm like, so I'm like, shit, I gotta pick one of these, so I'm like, I guess I'll just go with this, and I put down the one thing to get signed, and then Jay reaches over, took the other one out of my hand. He goes, "You ain't got to pick one thing. We'll sign them both." So I was like, "Fuck yeah, that was cool as hell." So got both the things signed that I wanted to. I brought a few other items too, but I knew I'd have to kind of pick and choose. So the two that I got were what I wanted. So got my picture with them, and then got back out. And did I catch the rest of somebody? I had to have caught the rest of someone. I don't really remember what, because I basically just went and found where he was sitting and just hung out with them until ICP went on. ICP put on a fucking killer ass show. It was fucking sweet. Oddly enough, and I know Crazy talks about this on his show as well, but they did not perform Chicken Hunting. That was really weird. I don't care. I've seen it performed 50 fucking plus times, but that was kind of weird. That might be the very first time I've ever seen them that they didn't play it. So, but whatever, they played 4 songs from Fearless Fred Fury. They played Fury. They played the intro, and then Fury, and then they did Seriously Hilarious and one other one. I don't remember which. It'll probably come to me again, but I've seen ICP so many fucking times. It all just blends together. I don't know. I always say I'd love to walk everybody through track by track. They played this, they played this, they played this, but I don't know. I see them so many fucking times that I couldn't tell you one show from the next, but I can tell you that it was a fucking great show. The Fago was flying like normal. I did see at one point me and Crazy were standing next to each other, and a bottle just comes flying out and hit a fucking light, like one of the spotlight things, and that thing started going. I thought for sure that thing was coming down, and there was people standing right under. I'm like, and then all of a sudden it just kind of stopped, and I'm like, so me and Crazy weren't under it, but there was other people. Somebody would have got hurt, and that would have not been cool. But nothing happened. But yeah, that was a little bit a little bit heart stopping there for a second. So, and the other weird thing about the venue was that they did not have a liquor license. I got in there. I was planning on having a couple beers. I wasn't gonna get drunk or anything, but I was like, hey, can I get a wristband? And the girl's like, for what? And I'm like, for drinking? And she goes, oh, we don't have a liquor license. I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy. So then I went up to buy a bottle of water, and I thankfully had cash on me because they didn't take credit cards. So I was able to get throughout the night, a few bottles of water. I'm like, 'cause I gotta have something going through me, Crazy, not crazy. Shanzi ended up going next door because you could go in and out like to your car if you were bringing merch out or whatever. They'd give you a stamp or whatever it was, and I guess they give you a wristband. I don't know, whatever. They marked it somehow that you could come back in, and he goes out, and there was a bowling alley in the same parking lot. So him and Coma went over there, and he got fucking shit faced. Shanzi did, and he was having a fucking blast. He got back, and holy shit, that dude was just partying like fucking like. I think Crazy actually made the comment like he was in full on Shanzi mode. Yeah, so, but yeah, that was a lot of fun, and we also had Scottish Misfit with us from Tales from the Lotus podcast. I had not met him before. Great dude, and so he was chilling with us. And then, like I said, Shanzi and Coma, DC and Megs, and me and Crazy, and then a couple of his friends actually from the place he was staying at ended up coming out. So we had a pretty good sized group. It was fucking awesome. Show was great. The venue was really cool. Other than that, they just didn't serve alcohol yet, but they're working on it apparently. Apparently this place is fairly new. The building is definitely not new, but the fact that the club is there is new. A lot of people were bitching about the smoking area. Doesn't bother me because I don't fucking smoke, so I didn't care about that. I liked that though, that you could come and go out to your vehicle, so I was able to take my stuff out to DC's car and put it out there. So I had brought it in a backpack, like one of those drawstring knapsack things, but I was like, I don't want to carry this around all night, and so thankfully they let you back out. So overall, I thought the experience there was very positive. Security was cool, and the sound there was great. The setup was good. I don't really feel like there was at least up near the stage, it went way back. So if you were way in the back, maybe you wouldn't be able to see too well. But as far as up on the other side of, like, they had kind of a little raised area where the soundboard and everything was. As long as you were up there, there was not a bad spot there that you would not have been able to see the show. Very good. So overall, I thought it was a great venue. Totally worth the trip. It's about a 4-hour drive again, but I thought it was worth it. So yeah, so pretty much after that, by the time the show was done, we took a group photo together. Crazy brought the Morton's List to Coma, so the picture we have of it, like Coma's holding it like this, like death grip on it, not letting it go. So he did get his copy of Morton's List after 2 years. So and then basically DC and Megs drove me back to my hotel and just chilled outside for a couple minutes just before they took off, and then I pretty much went in. I had a couple more beers that I had left in my cooler. Sipped on those, watched a little TV, and then got up the next day. I headed over to where Crazy was at, picked him up, and we hit the road home. So I got stuck in a few traffic backups just due to construction, but for the most part, I think the trip back went fairly quick. We did stop for lunch real quick, but other than that, everything went pretty quick. We didn't have to make too many pit stops. And then on the way back, Scottish Misfit was hosting a Tales from the Lotus podcast, and he sent Crazy the link, and Crazy just hooked the phone up right in the car, and so we were able to be on the show while we were still en route back. Shanzi was on there, and so that was really cool. And basically got back to Grand Rapids, and you know how Crazy is, how his fucking hustle works. We got back to my apartment, he unloaded his stuff out of my car and into his car, and he went right to work. And so he was fucking hustling. So I know he said he worked for about 10 or 11 hours that night, but he made quite a bit of money, so good for him. And I basically got my stuff unpacked, and I fucking chilled, watched a little TV, and I was out pretty early. So overall, like I said, great fucking trip. It was awesome to fucking see everybody. It was great to see DC and Megs again. Great to see Shanzi again. Great to meet Coma Black and Scottish Misfit. It was cool making the trip with Crazy. So it was just a great time. I'm definitely glad I went. Like I said, I was a little, when I first thought about it, I'm like, do I want to make that long of a trip? And I'm glad I did, because it was fucking totally cool. So All right, so real quick, I'm just going to kind of show just a couple things I picked up. I didn't pick up any shirts. They didn't really have any that caught my eye other than a Ouija Max shirt that I would have really liked to have gotten, but he didn't have it in my size, but I think I am going to order it off his website. It's the one where it looks like the Paulo Peralta logo, like tearing through, but it's like a skull with like the braids like he's got, so I do think I'm going to order that. The smallest I think they had was like 2XL, and that's way too big for me. I don't even like wearing an XL. I like wearing large. So, but I did pick up his new album Wasteland. It's kind of weird. It is just a slipcase. You know, I was actually kind of surprised. I thought it was going to be a jewel case, but anyway, I had him sign it, and it was when I was picking this up that he recognized me. So that was really cool. So thanks to Ouija for signing that. So. And then a couple things I brought with me like I said, I brought quite a few items to get signed, but the ones that I did get signed that I went with were, this is obviously framed already. So quite a few years ago, I ordered something from Hatchet Gear, and this was just in there, the 8x10 photo, just like as a freebie. You know, they just stuck a few things in there, some stickers or something. You know, I'd ordered a shirt and CD or whatever. And so ever since then, this is another thing, I just basically took it and I taped it to my wall. So if you were to take this out, there is some tape residue on the back and everything. But I don't know, like a year ago or so, I came across it and I was like, it'd be cool to frame, you know. So framed it, and I've had it hanging right over there. And then when I was kind of thinking of some things to bring to get signed, I was like, that would be really cool to get signed. So I brought that. And yeah, this one thing, when I handed it to them too, they like were talking about they're like, oh yeah, this photo shoot, and started just telling a story about it and stuff while we were all kind of gathered around, so that was really cool. So, other item is my Wicked Clowns comic book. I got this at the Riddle Box show the very first time I saw ICP in April of 1995. I've had this ever since then. So, this is the original comic print. I do have another one down here that's a reprint, and this one here, if I can, there we go, is also a reprint. I think I'm going to take that out and put this in there now that I've got it signed. So those ones that are on really nice white paper, it's really cool. It's the same comic, but this is on the actual like comic stock, and they were just giving these away. Like they just had them at the merch stand, and I bought a shirt anyway, but they were like, you can just grab one. But I have a couple more around here, and then probably not here, they're probably at my folks, but I just can't put my hands on them. But all my friends that picked one up, like they ended up just giving them to me after they were like, "Fuck ICP, I don't like them anymore," and whatnot. So I ended up. I think this is the one I had. I'm not 100% sure, but I basically rolled it up like this, and I carried it in my pocket the whole night. But I wore big baggy skater jeans back then because I was a skater, you know, and so it was, the pocket was nice and loose, so it didn't get too beat up. But I had them sign that at the Fury Fest, so that was fucking cool. And they started talking about this too, about how when they got them printed out, they had to smuggle them back over, you know, from Canada and stuff. So it was really fucking cool. So I think I'm going to be throwing this one in that frame to replace that one because now this one's all signed. So those are the two things I got signed. Also did obviously part of the VIP package was the Forgotten Freshness Volume 6. I have not listened to this yet. I know it's on Spotify, but I just haven't got around to it. And honestly, I haven't even had this out of here. Let's go ahead and take a look through it real quick. So I have not even seen the inside of this either. So just obviously your tracks, or notes on the different tracks, and photos from the era probably of what the song was. So pretty cool. I have to look through this a little more deep, but just I basically just opened it and put it on my shelf there behind me for my collection. So. And then, of course, the other thing, and I do plan on trying to hang this up, and this is probably going to be kind of hard to show, but did to get the Fearless Fred Fury wall flag. So, yeah, that's going to be kind of hard, but yeah, you can see basically what it looks like there. So this thing is really cool. It's good quality, and it's got like a grommet on each end, so you can hang it up. You don't have to pick one way or the other. Got them on each corner. So. I don't really have a whole lot more room in my bedroom here with all the posters and things that I've got hanging up. And then, like I stated before, my roommate is not into ICP. I don't think she would have any problem if I were to hang this out in our living room, but I know it's not her thing, so I just haven't asked her if she minds. We have a both mine, but we have an Irish flag hanging on the wall out there, and we have a typo negative, the flag of Vinland. flag, and those are both like hanging like downward out there on the wall. So even if I were to put this up there, I'd have to probably put it below them or something, because this has to go long ways. So this might be just something that after I get like a condo or something that I hang up in there and just keep stored until then. But regardless, it's a really cool item, and that's that. So that's everything that I got with the VIP. Everything I got signed, and that's pretty much it. That pretty much wraps it up. So that was a fun trip a couple weeks ago, and definitely something I would do again. And I'm glad I made the trip down there. Didn't go too far into downtown Indianapolis, but where I was really cool. And just seems like a nice area, and it's definitely someplace I'd like to visit again. I am keeping an eye on what other shows are coming there. Probably not this year, but next year, during good weather, if another band or ICP plays there again, or some other band that I really like, I would definitely make the trip down there. The venue was nice, and it was just a fun time. And of course, it was fun being with all my Juggalo friends and seeing everybody again and meeting people for the first time. So highly recommend the Citadel Music Hall if you've never been there, if you're nearby, for whatever concert. I'm sure it's fun for whoever's there. So make the trip if you can. So, well, that's pretty much all I got. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting. This is Ecocide Fiend, and I will catch you in the next one. Too sweet.